Hey guys, this is Lovin Meets with Dr. Saeed Rafi, who's Secretary of the Emirates Oncology Society. Today we spoke to him about why the early detection of breast cancer is so important. He has patients as young as 24 with breast cancer. So we spoke about how we should be testing, how often we should be testing, and everything we need to know.
And if you missed the interview, we go in podcast form. So subscribe to the Lovin Meets podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, and enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Lovin Dubai show. Today we're joined by Dr. Saeed Rafi, Secretary of the Emirates Oncology Society, and this show is presented by Novartis, here to discuss breast cancer, why early detection is crucial, what we should know about checkups, and help debunk some common myths. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. And my first question is, what are the early and subtle symptoms of breast cancer?
Breast cancer presents in different ways in different patients. Sometimes you can feel a lump in the breast yourself. Sometimes you can see some changes in the skin of the breast. You can see some puckering, some kind of dots on the skin of the breast. We call it peau d'orange. Basically, it becomes like a skin of an orange. Sometimes you can see that the nipple is drawn inside, and sometimes you can see also some secretions or bleeding or anything. And there is also something called inflammatory breast cancer, when you see that the whole breast becomes very red and congested. So it presents in different ways. Sometimes it does not actually have any symptoms, and the patients, they actually discover it at the time of doing the screening. So different kind of symptoms in different patients.
How often and at what age would you recommend self-checks? And for people who don't like to, I guess, bother doctors, at what point should some of these symptoms really scream it's time to visit someone?
Really, I mean, all ladies, they have to get to know their body, and all men for the same reason as well. So it is important as you get older to just examine your body, examine your breast, and then get to know the consistency, to see what is normal for you, what is not normal. Obviously, the breast consistency changes during the periods as well. So it is important that people actually start examining themselves from the age of mid-20 or something, so that they can get the consistency, and then they understand as they do it more regularly to find out what is it actually normal for them and what it is becoming abnormal. And if they feel that there is something abnormal which was not there before, this is now the time to go and check myself.
Mm-hmm. When we hear about breast cancer, we often associate it with women of older age. Now, is it as well? Can it happen to maybe younger women?
This may be true in some countries. Unfortunately, it is not very true in this country. In this country, a lot of our patients, they are actually below the age of 50. So they are fairly young patients. Yes, historically, breast cancer, or in fact most cancers, they have been disease of old age people, but now we see a shift towards the younger patients. So in this country, at least around 80% of our patients, they are diagnosed below the age of 50. So it is really alarming. It is also important to raise that awareness amongst the ladies, so that they don't think that breast cancer is the disease of older generations. If I'm a young patient, I still might be able to get breast cancer, so it's important to check myself.
It's 100% important to raise awareness. Is there any data as to why the shift in ages has happened so dramatically in the last couple of years?
We don't have the complete understanding. I think, even in the Western societies, we see that shift as well. Maybe it is the mechanization of the lifestyle. The life is becoming so mechanical at the moment. Air pollutions, the different in the way that we interact with each other, activities, food and stuff. But really, we do not understand. What we do know that is that really it is not like all time. We see a lot of younger people, they get breast cancer. Not only breast cancer, also colorectal cancer and the rest of other types.
Mm-hmm. Now, when you say about the word breast cancer, it's something that maybe a lot of people do try to avoid testing. However, how often should we test for breast cancer? If, let's say, I tested and I don't have breast cancer, right? And I will ignore it. So how often should I keep on testing to make sure that I am stable?
If you do not have any strong family history, or if you do not have any genetic mutations or anything, in this country we recommend doing an annual breast screening from the age of 40. So once you become 40, then annually you should go on and have a breast screening. Obviously, if there are some around 15-20% of breast cancer because of the genetic risk that people are born with, and in those group of individuals we recommend a little bit earlier to start a screening, but for general public, majority of them are starting a screening from the age of 40.
And why is this screening so important? Does it make a dramatic difference if you catch breast cancer early in a patient?
Absolutely 100%, because that is the whole reason that we do this screening, because the whole point of screening is to basically discover that cancer at the smallest size when it is curable. There is no point of discovering something when it is very large and God forbid it is gone to the lymph node or other part of the body, because we from the data, from the statistics, we know that when you discover breast cancer at a stage 1 or a stage 2 maximum, the likelihood of cure is approaching nearly 90 to 100%. Whereas when you discover it at a later stage, for instance, stage 4, that likelihood becomes dramatically less.
Wow.
Well, what's like the easiest way for testing?
So there are a few things. First of all, is just self breast examination. It is important that all ladies they learn the technique to do the self breast examination. It's fairly easy, basically. When you are in shower or in front of a mirror or something, you just stand in front and then put your one arm behind your head and start from with 2 fingers or 3 fingers. You start from 12 o'clock, which is the top of the breast, and then go around the circular motion, and then coming and then checking your breast, feeling for any inconsistency, any hardness or anything, and then obviously behind the nipple as well, you can check that one, and then you do the same for the other one. So that is a technique that almost every lady has to learn about it from the age of puberty. There are quite a lot of content on the YouTube and other places that people they can go and check and learn this technique. So it is very important. The second one is obviously annual screening. So the annual screening is done using the ultrasound scan and mammogram to find any inconsistency, any changes in the breast that may point towards cancer.
This might sound like a silly question, but what doctor should I be visiting for an annual screening?
Some hospitals, like the hospital that I work at, Mediclinic City Hospital, we have dedicated breast screening units. So there are radiologists who are specialized in looking at the breast and everything as well. We have breast surgeons and obviously oncologists as well. Some hospitals they have those units, but some hospitals again they have the ability to do the mammogram and ultrasound scan as well. Any doctor, to be honest, is good if you do not have access to the hospitals who have dedicated units. So, but the most important one is just to go to the places that they have the specialty to look at the breast.
What's the youngest patient that you have ever seen? Like, how old was she? Was she treated? When did she discover she had breast cancer?
The youngest that I've had was a patient at the age of 24, and thankfully, yes, she has been treated, and then
Wow.
she is now for a long time, and that is in remission. I have another patient right now at the age of 28 who's been diagnosed with breast cancer. She's currently under treatment as well, so hopefully she's going to have a very good response to the treatment. But again, this is to highlight that as early as 24 you can have a breast cancer. This is not something that it is. And those patients, by the way, none of those patients they had any genetic predisposition.
Wow.
There was no family history or anything. So it is really, really important to highlight this. It is not to make people frightened about it. It's just to be realistic, and then check yourself to make sure that we are not going to be surprised.
24. We've had interviews with Dubai ladies on the show where they've spoken about their experiences, and one mum in particular said she felt a lump but put off getting checked for some time. And I just wondered, have you ever had conversations as to why sometimes people might avoid screening?
I mean, look, you know, obviously this age is first of all, we never think about, you know, getting cancer. You know, people are young, very active, they have other things on their mind, you know, education, career, and, you know, probably getting married and having family and the rest of the stuff that you do not particularly come and think about this kind of thing. So that is one. And the second one, you know, again, the misconception that it is for the older generation, it's probably not for me. Sometimes people, they are scared that you know, I'm going to go on a screen and then somehow I may find something, and they just want to brush it under the carpet and they don't really want. But that is not going to make the matter go away completely. It is just going to delay the diagnosis and then cause the, you know, further problems later.
Have you seen a change in statistics of breast cancer awareness?
You know, luckily these years and this generation, they are more aware of this, and then sometimes we see the late diagnosis in patients who are older. In fact, you know, this generation, they are more realistic about it, thankfully. And what you are doing at the moment is just to raise that awareness. And you know, it's not October is the month of breast cancer awareness, but you know, thank you for doing it right now to keep the consistency of, you know, raising that awareness throughout the year, that it is very important for ladies to get to know their breast, to examine your breast if you find something. And most of the time, really, the finding that you have, they are not cancer, they are just some lump and bumps that are normal. But it is important to go and see somebody who is specialized in doing that. This is what we are saying, basically. If you find something, it is probably not cancer, but please go and see somebody.
It's certainly nice to see the pink badges outside of October, so you're so right, it is nice to spread awareness throughout the year. Before you leave us, Doctor, we really appreciate your time, and if you could help debunk some common misconceptions about breast cancer, that would be amazing.
One, again, you know, as we've been talking through this one is that breast cancer is no longer the disease of old generation, so we have to be aware about this. Number two is that breast cancer is not a disease that is not curable. It is 100% curable if we diagnose it as early as possible. And then number three is not every single lump that I have is a breast cancer, but it is important that I can go and get it checked. So these are the important points to just notice.
Appreciate that, but what about, I remember growing up hearing that using aerosol cans could cause breast cancer.
No, that is definitely not proven. You know, if you are using a antiperspirant or deodorant or something, there is absolutely no proven link between using those agents and having breast cancer.
Okay.
Definitely.
Well, the fact, or people that say that if your family does not have a history of breast cancer, you will not get it.
No, that is not very true. I mean, yes, in the families, they have few members of those families, they are at a higher risk of getting breast cancer, but still, you know, there are quite a lot of patients. I would say that around 70% of people, they do not have actually any family history of breast cancer, and they still get it. So, yeah.
And the last one that we'll pick your brains on, annual mammograms will guarantee early detection.
Nothing is 100%, but you know, that is going to detect the cancer at the earliest stage. And the importance is that, you know, if I'm doing one mammogram and I don't go and do any screening for another 15 years, obviously, you know, you can. The most important one is the consistency, that on annual basis you go and get yourself checked, and in between the mammogram with self-breast examination.
Really appreciate your time and spreading awareness
My
on such an
absolute
important
pleasure.
topic. Thank you so much for joining us
Thank you very
today.
much indeed for having me. Thank you.
That was Dr. Saeed Rafi, Secretary of the Emirates Oncology Society. Thank you, Farah.
Thank you, Casey.
And that brings us to the end of the Lovin Dubai show on this Tuesday morning. We're back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Have a beautiful day.